you are a professor here at FSCJ. You are teaching the semester digital media, sound recording,
studio
recording, and
I sponsor the martial arts club.
And you sponsor the martial arts club, and your background is in electronic music?
Yes, my first degree was in music and electronic music composition.
Cool. So tell us about what you bring to FSCJ as a professor and why everyone should be psyched to take your class.
I have the fun classes. Everything I do is very applicable to now and probably in the future. The digital media part, I teach what I call the dynamic web presence. It's how you go about making your web come alive, or your web pages in background area. Also, I teach a lot of the back-end programming on how to tie into the nuts and bolts that make the web work.
Cool.
And of course, music is music, and music is life, so I always get excited about that one. The class has Macintoshes. We have 24 Macs, and they have we're Apple shop, so they're Macs, and we use what's called Apple Logic Pro 10 at this time, the latest version. And that is a full DAW, digital audio workstation, or composition station and recording station. Now, what you do is you learn, that's where you can drop into loops, you can record, you can interface with microphones and guitars, all kinds of different things, but a lot of it's all built into the software now. So we have built this studio so that we can do what is called analog capturing, which means live sound. And then it gets brought in and it goes into the Motu, which converts it over to the digital, so that the computer can, which is hidden down behind over here, and of course here are the screens up here, can accept it, and then we can work with it in a digital environment. This is a very large, what's called TOF board from England, very famous mixing console, and very unique that we have this here. We use this for what's called, I call pre and post editing, and that we can bring a microphone in here, warm it up through the analog circuitry that's in here, and tone, or equalization is called, but it's normally known as tone for people with radios. And then we will digitize it, and we'll bring it back up and re-warm it up again if the digitizing strips it a little bit or makes it thin to us. So it's very nice to have this and interface in that way. So all of our effects, now we do have quite an outboard rack still here of different effects and preamps and things that have like reverbs and delays and flangers or preamps for the microphones to set up different kind of environments. But most of it today is now done with plugins through the mixer. This is why you come in here, you capture the raw sound here, and you just run back out there, and that they can do full editing and full composition sitting at their desks now. So we're very unique in that we were one of the first schools to have this when we started about 6 years ago with it. So we've been very excited about the whole place.
Now, how did this lab come about? This is actually unique to FSCJ's South Campus. How did this become a fruition here?
Well, when I was over in the CIS department and Dr. Johnson recruited me to come over here, the big deal was they needed to have a sound recording class for the digital media, and part of my responsibilities and duties were to initiate and develop the program and grow the program. I said one of them is, well, we got to have a half decent studio, analog studio or capturing studio, and they said, well, we don't have any room. And I said, where were you thinking of putting the lab anyway, or the stuff? And they said this room, and I looked in here, and originally, and you can't see because of the cameras, this was just a closet that was divided in half because this was once 2 classrooms that they knocked the wall out in between. And so what I said was, well, let's just knock this wall out. We'll make this a control room. We'll close off, and if you go out to this side here, you'll see how you walk in, that it was exactly like this over on this side. I said, well, just build a wall down there, and we'll have the studio in there and the control room in here, and voila, we're growing. We've been building, and we've been here long enough. It's starting to fall apart. We've got to put it back together this semester.
To finish up, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about your club, the Rat Audio Club.
Oh yeah, on Facebook we have RATS, which is the Recording Arts Technique Studio here, and that's what we affectionately call our little studio here is RATS, and anybody can go find that on Facebook by just putting in FSCJ RATS, and we'll come up, and anybody can hang in there, and I'm trying to expand. I haven't had a lot of time to work on it lately, but as soon as I do, On my websites and stuff, we have a lot of the music the students have been producing and doing here. One part about the recording here that's really unique is that we're kind of stuck in a middle, no man's land. Though we're right under the digital media and it's very important to the digital media. We also do a lot of recording for the music department, so we do the jazz bands, symphony, and the choruses. We also do a lot of the compositions that you do when you come in here and start learning to use the equipment. You're required, or I require, that you create music yourself. I'd rather see you ride the bike than just talk about the bicycle. So when you do that, I post it up, and then all the students from the dance get to pick through it. And if they pick your piece, you get published, your first published, and they use it as an interpretive dance piece for their recital at the end of the year, the big one over at Wilson Center. So that's been very exciting how we've been involved in a lot of that stuff. And actually, I've been having a lot of fun the past year picking up playing guitar for a lot of the students from the recording class who have bands and their guitar players are missing or can't be there that time, and I go fill in. So I've been doing a lot with a reggae band lately. It's been a lot of fun.
Cool.
Well, you know, I do a lot of things. I try to offer my time when you get a little older, you know, real maturity, and I'm going to go back because of the martial arts and explain maturity to you. Maturity is being in a place in your life where you can take care of yourself, and that you do well enough that eventually you can take care of your own children if you have them. But you also want to get yourself in a place where you're not dependent on society, parents, or anything but yourself, and you get to a place where you can be well off or doing well enough that you can be benevolent to help someone else out. And so I belong to a church, and I do a lot of work with the praise band and a group called CR, which is Celebrate Recovery. And that's also with playing in a band for that. And that's an awesome band because guess where most musicians are doing at this age? Trying to recover. So we got a great band going, and we go around, and it's kind of like a AA or DA version of the Christian version of it, without being offensive to anyone, I hope. So, okay.
How did you get involved in Celebrate Recovery?
Actually, it was the music. I was playing through the church praise band, and I played in a few churches here, but we found one closer to home and a little more upscale on the music and stuff. And so I introduced myself and I got involved, and it's been going ever since. The leader there also does the Celebrate Recovery, being a recovering addict himself. And I was really impressed with the work he's done and how he went about doing his stuff, so I offered my services.
Does the philosophy of Celebrate Recovery and the way that they do their work tie into your martial arts philosophy?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's all one mind, body, and spirit, and something gets out of whack somewhere when people abuse themselves or abuse life. And you got to get balance again, which brings you back to the yin yang.
Your rock opera that you're working on right now, tell us about that.
Well, like I said, I've been a composer and a musician since I was your age, so back in the early 70s, and in electronic music, and I had a band that did quite well back then called Trilogy. We had a few small albums out, and were regionally recognized band back then, and I started writing some pieces for the band and for us near the end of the band, and it started expanding, and they never got produced or really published. So I've always kept them in the back of my mind, and they were always, the poetry and the whole idea was that of a rock opera. And so now 40 years later, I have the time, money, and technique or technology to do this myself. Though I still have some friends who come help out on it every now and then. So I'm getting very excited. I have about 45 minutes of what I want to have about 70-some minutes of the music completed. The karate club came around in 2004. I started to have some health problems, and I needed to get back in the gym and start working out. My wife said, "You only like karate, you hate the gym." I do. And I said, okay. So I said, well, the only way I'm going to discipline myself to do this is to start a club over at the school. So there was a young lady here, I can't even remember her name now. It slipped me for a minute here. But anyway, she said she would join, and so we started a loose little group to get together for karate. And in 2000, that was in 2003, so 2004, we officially chartered it through the student services here. And we've been an active club ever since, so we're now one of the longest running clubs. We celebrated last year our 10th anniversary of the club running, so we're very excited about it, and it's been going very well. And please, we hope you do come and visit since you showed an interest. as a human being, much less an accelerated student, I would like you all to take away from here, if nothing else, an insatiable curiosity and a tenacity to satisfy that curiosity. Then I have done my real job as an educator, and not just giving you some information for the day. I've given you the ability to learn for life.